Welcome everyone. Good morning or good evening to some of you. My name is Laura Rehlis and I'm the founder of Aspiring Lawyers Papua New Guinea. I'd like to start off by saying welcome and thank you to everyone who's joined. I know it's a Saturday, it's the weekend, so you could be doing your time, you could use your time doing anything else, but you've decided to spend your time with us. And we thank you very much and we'll try to make your time worth it. So it's a very international webinar today. I can see we don't have many numbers, but it's a small group of people from all over the world. I'm in the UK right now. We have Tess, our host, who is from Malaysia. We've got Catherine, who I believe is in either Australia or Port Moresby right now. She's our guest speaker. And I know I also have one of my friends from Poland joining, Karol. So very international. As I've said, I won't be hosting this webinar, Tess will. I just popped by in the first few minutes to thank you because ALPNG has grown a lot in the past 2 years. If you don't know, I started ALPNG with my team, not just me, it was with my team in 2020. So it's been 2 years. And yeah, it's grown a lot. So just to state some numbers, on Facebook, we've got now 3,000 followers. We've, on Instagram, we've got around almost 1,000. And on LinkedIn, we've also got around 1,000. And I know to some of you, those numbers may not mean anything. And in that case, we've also done a lot of work in real life. So we've had 2 cycles of mentorship programs. We've had one in 2021, and we've had another one this year. We're almost finishing it now. We're in April, towards the end. So we've helped around a total of around 80 mentors with their mentees to make them more employable. So we've helped them, draft their CVs, cover letters. We've given them mock interviews so that, when they finish school and they go into the real world, they're ready. We'd like to thank you all for, helping us make that happen. And I don't want to waste anyone's time. This is not my webinar. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Tess to the table. And yeah, good luck with the webinar, everyone. And I hope you all enjoy it.
Thank you, Laura. So hi everyone again. Welcome to our first ALPNG webinar for 2022. My name is Tess Tavaperry, and as your host for this webinar, it's an honor to have you all join us, and I'm excited for all the interesting conversations we're going to be having today. So ALPNG would like to acknowledge some of you joining us today who are non-legal professionals, non-law students, as well as legal professionals. We're delighted to have you all join us. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Once again, it is wonderful to see you all, and we're grateful for your presence, albeit virtually. In line with what Laura mentioned earlier about the work that ALPNG does, the team have arranged this webinar where we invite our special guest speaker, who is an experienced legal practitioner, to address an area of the legal practice that she specializes in. So webinars such as this are for the benefit of law students to enable us to broaden our understanding of the legal practice and how we can position ourselves in our own individual paths as we look to set up a career in law. I'd like to begin by acknowledging our distinguished guest speaker for tonight, Ms Katherine Baim. Hi, Catherine. It's so good to have you, and we thank you for being with us tonight. So, as all of you may know by now, Ms Baim is a commercial lawyer. So we'll start by getting to know a little bit about her commercial work experience. Now, Ms. Baim started her career in commercial law as a graduate contracts administrator with Newcrest Mining Limited in Lihir, New Island Province. She then joined the commercial team at Gadens, which is now known as Dentons PNG. Subsequently, Ms. Baim spent the next 5 years with Digicel, where she was promoted to the head of the legal and regulatory team. Here, she was responsible for overlooking the Pacific markets for Digicel, which include Fiji, Tonga, Nauru, Vanuatu, and Samoa. Given her success in the area of commercial law, we are certainly lucky to have her share her story with us tonight. And what's more, Ms. Baim is definitely no stranger to ALPNG, as her leadership, invaluable knowledge, and professionalism has been fundamental in the ALPNG mentorship team as a mentorship director. Not only that, Ms. Baim juggles the added role as a mentor in the mentorship program, again imparting her expertise to aspiring lawyers like you and I. Before ALPNG, Ms. Baim was a board member to the Safe Motherhood Alliance of PNG for 3 years, working alongside Dame Carol Kiddo. Safe Motherhood Alliance of PNG took her to Fiji, accompanying a small PNG delegation to attend a parliamentary conference to discuss maternal health for women in the Pacific. As you listen to her story and the points she has prepared to share with us, I hope you realize that not only is she just an all-around inspiring individual, but that examples like hers help you to stay grounded on your path to one day becoming a thriving commercial lawyer for Papua New Guinea. The topic Ms. Baim will be addressing in this web is, of course, the commercial legal practice, mainly from an in-house lawyer's perspective. So she will delve into practicing as an in-house counsel and what this entails. Before I hand the floor over to our guest speaker, I'd like to bring a few important housekeeping rules to your attention. As Laura mentioned earlier, this session is being recorded, so we ask that you do keep your mics on your devices on mute during the webinar to avoid interruptions. And for those of you who do not wish to be recorded, you may also switch off your cameras. You will be allowed, however, to unmute your mic during the question and answer session towards the end of the webinar, where the floor will be open for any questions you wish to ask regarding the topic discussed. And alternatively, on your app, whether you're using your desktop or mobile phone, you can find our chat section where at any time during the webinar, if you have a question to ask Ms. Baim, you can post that in the chat section and we'll address this during the Q&A session should timing permit. So again, I'd like to reiterate that all questions will be specifically left for the question and answer session. Thank you. So that's all from me. Ms. Baim, it's over to you.
Thanks, Tess. Thank you everyone for joining us today. It's really an honor to sit here and at least share my experiences with everyone. I know it's a Saturday and you should be with family doing your own activities, but you decided to stay with us. So we hope that we make it as informed as possible for you. Okay, so as Tess introduced, my name is Katherine Baim. So I have been mentoring ALPNG, and as part of the mentorship, I'm really grateful to be here to be able to speak to you all and also to speak to professionals out there who understand a little bit about what I'm going to talk about today. So thank you so much for joining us. Okay, so I'll go right into it. I think some of you have decided to get into commercial law practice. Some of you are wondering what commercial practice is all about, and some of you just want to know what in-house counsels do, what's the hype with all of, to be an in-house counsel, you know, everyone speaks about it, but no one really shares that with like new incoming graduates like you. As we dive into what we're going to talk about today, please note what I'm sharing today is basically my own experience practicing, and it doesn't reflect any views of my previous employers. And I just would like to make that known to everyone who's attending today. I won't be giving a patriotic speech, but what I'm going to tell you today is about how PNG really needs to have good commercial lawyers in terms of our growing economy. We need intellectuals like you who are coming out from the universities. Also, we need professionals to start going out of their comfort zone and start trying to be confident in what you're trying to do, what areas that you're good at. It's all about just improving yourself and just being able to inspire others, be like around you in your own organizations, in your own school groups that you are, or with your friends, with your family. So it's all about that. So my topic today is basically about what an in-house counsel does. and basically in commercial law. So if you're interested to know about anything that happens in the courtroom, then we can have another session later on where we will bring someone who's into litigation, so they can give you more information about that. So yeah, let's get right into it. So I started as a young lawyer, getting into the legal practice. I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do. And I had, when I had an interesting family dynamic where my dad wanted me to be a doctor, and I wanted to be someone that was not, absolutely not, because I wasn't good in maths. And I didn't actually want to be a lawyer. I was thinking I'd rather be a banker, because I really like business. And for me, that was, I enjoyed doing that at a young age, just playing around with my brothers and sisters. And that for me was something that I really wanted to do. I wanted to be a banker. So that was totally different. So as soon as I left year 12, I had to sit with my history teacher just to understand exactly what I was going to be. And my dad had to be there as well too, which was interesting. So he had told my history teacher that he wanted me to be a doctor. But you see, these are things that are totally different. You never know exactly what you're going to get into. Everything gets molded as you go. So if you're now in law school, or you're just thinking about, what do I have to do? Can I be a litigation lawyer? Can I be a commercial lawyer? So you're not alone, and I've been through it, and my other colleagues in the legal profession have been through it too. Being a lawyer in commercial practice is not a one-man show. You have people there who you need to look up for inspiration if you're trying to get into commercial law. I've been privileged to work with some of the very, very intelligent people who are Papua New Guineans, and female especially. I was working at one stage with Gadens, and I was privileged to work with Winifred Kamit. If you don't know who she is, she's a very influential female in the commercial law space in Papua New Guinea. And I believe she's one of the partners at Dentons. What I found from her is she's very confident, she's very empathic, and she's very knowledgeable in her area. And that was something that I looked up to in developing myself. Another influential person that I found that was very interesting is Dame Carol Kidu. She is very passionate in what she does. And that's something that I really wanted to look up to. I just wanted to be someone who was passionate in my work. And I have to develop those sort of things by just looking at people and by working with them. So that was something that I actually developed by just working with her. The other person would be my mother. I've seen her through my experiences growing up. So she is one of those influential people too as well, because she's taught me to be persevere. And I know that you have your own journeys out there. You have people in your life that are inspiring you. And that's what this is all about. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the importance of commercial law practice here in PNG. Pre-COVID, I've been practicing for 10 years, and I've just seen from my own experience how commercial law has evolved. And I've seen that it's so important for the economy of PNG. We need Papua New Guineans to step up. We need people to start being confident in themselves. Whatever your qualifications that you have, you must be able to start developing, being confident to speak up. That's the only way that you can start leading your organizations. You can start being part of decision making. So as you're probably wondering now that I'm speaking, like, okay, what is it all about? Why are you saying that I can be a leader? What do I do? Lawyers just go to court. That's what they do. Everyone thinks that. But this is something that needs to be understood. Lawyers don't just go to court. We have lawyers who work behind the scenes, and no one sees that. We see people who work other commercial lawyers or the ones that are in commercial practice. Because the media has painted a really nice picture about us lawyers. We go to court and, we represent people. That's just partly what we do, but it's not exactly the only thing that we do. You can become a commercial lawyer. You can be part of decision making. You can sit on the table with people, expatriates, very influential people in different industries. And that's something very important that PNG needs at this stage. We look up to lawyers from outside the country, and that's something that we can change. And it's something that we can work towards. And partly the reason why is you being here in law school, it's your own journey. Like I said, you can decide what you want to do. You can be a litigation lawyer, or you can be a commercial lawyer. It's really up to you what you're passionate about. I'm not going to force you and say all the good things about it and say, what I'm trying to drive across to you is that you need to understand where you stand as a Papua New Guinean, where you can be influential on the table in making decisions. And in commercial law, you can be part of that. So I'm sure you've seen other Papua New Guineans, females especially, who are already part of this journey in being decision makers in very huge organizations, even Australian listed companies. So that's an opportunity for you out there to take if you want to. So I started as a graduate. So I looked at myself when I started. I really wanted to become a public prosecutor. As soon as I finished LTI, and I had prepared all my applications, I had sent all my applications out to everyone saying, please employ me. I'm finishing LTI. I need a job. I was living with my good cousin who was kind enough to house me for 9 months while I was doing my LTI. And I had sent my letters to nearly those firms. I had sent my letters to firms, and also I had written a letter to the public prosecutor's office. And I was so glad to get back a response from them as a student. Like, wow, they responded to me. So at least like someone knows I exist. So that was good, because I got a letter from them saying, oh, I'm sorry, we can't employ you. We can't take you in. The reason being that we don't have the budget to engage lawyers. So that was like a hit back for me. So I was like, okay, there goes my ambitions of being a public prosecutor. So things sort of mold you as you go. You're not like, oh, I'm going to be this person when I get out. And then you expect it to happen for you straight away. It's always good to start small. And for me, I started as a graduate. So it was a graduate program. And I was lucky. I wouldn't say I was blessed enough to start something or to start from somewhere. So if you're going out, when you do, always remember that you need to start small, because that's really what the world is all about. Everyone starts somewhere, and you can do that too. After that, I joined Dentons, or actually it was Gadens. They've changed their name now. So I joined Gadens, and it was so difficult. It was so funny because I joined them with absolutely no experience in working in a law firm, and I needed that guidance from someone. And when I attended my interview, the partner had asked me, what experience do you have? And I just looked at him, and they say most of the time, like, you don't say that you don't have experience in something, you have to make up something, and just to tell the person that's interviewing you. So I was like, I have to be honest. I just told him right off the bat, because he just told me, oh, do you know how to do conveyancing? And I just looked at him and I just smiled and I said, no, I don't. So I'm working from this mining company, moving into this law firm, which has a totally different environment. And you need to be able to step up, because when you're working in a law firm, you have clients, you need a strong team that can support you. And for me personally, I didn't see that I could thrive in that sort of environment, because I was more of like an independent person. I felt that I could think on my feet, I could do things, and I just felt that this wasn't right for me. So after moving from Digicel, I moved on to, after Gadens, I moved to Digicel. Okay, Digicel was I would say it was like the big bang for me, because I initially, when I started, I didn't have any sort of in-house experience. So, but the good thing was that I had finished from this law firm and I joined the Digicel. So Digicel was interesting. Digicel was into its 6th year in PNG. So it was quite new. It had just built itself in. The towers were being built, and it was already on the road. And I was just this one person that had joined in to be able to contribute to the company. So I stayed there with them for another 5 years, and it was an interesting journey for me. I got to learn a lot of things, and I would say that Digicel has shaped me and given me a purpose now that to look forward in terms of career growth. And also I've been able to be promoted as well as a female, which is something that was totally different and new to me. So what do in-house lawyers do? You're probably asking that question by now. In-house lawyers, right? In-house lawyers, we are like a one-man team. You need to be very efficient most of the time, because you are sitting in a desk somewhere there with your clients all around you. It's not like a law firm where you actually have to contact clients, you have to go meet clients. It's totally different. You are working with your clients. So basically the company is your client. You're just there to serve the company, which makes you an in-house counsel. Most times that you will be dealing with matters that involve like different departments within the company. So you're like that go-to person for a company in terms of any legal advice. So you will be like the gatekeeper for the company. And as the gatekeeper of the company, you are expected to know like nearly every single thing, every part of the law. You're expected to do your own research. You're expected to turn things around very quickly. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry. So you have to understand the business inside out if you want to become an in-house counsel. So you're joining an actual business. So a company is a business. So you have to understand exactly how the company works, each of the departments, how they work, because you will be that go-to person. You will have HR issues to deal with. You will have marketing issues. I'm talking about like a company like Digicel. From my own experience, you have technical people to deal with. You need to understand their jargons. You have like sales, you have distribution, you have different areas. And then apart from Port Moresby, where we were situated, which our legal office was, we had different offices within the country and also outside of PNG, which includes Fiji and the smaller island countries. So you have to be really fearless in terms of work, on how you handle your work. It's apart from day-to-day advising clients, you will have projects to deal with. You will be called for projects. So it's so interesting. Mainly, you get to deal with issues, looking at risks for the company, how you can mitigate those risks. It's all about understanding how a company works. So you get to, in terms of your legal advising, like they say that you're just a lawyer, but you end up being like the go-to person for nearly most things. Like you become an educator, you educate your clients on what the risks are, how you can mitigate any sort of risk, how you can, just generally, you can look at different issues, like you educate HR people about certain issues, how to deal with employees, because it's employees' rights that you're dealing with. You deal with regulators. Regulators will send you letters. That's where you get to respond on behalf of the company. You sit down to do a lot of decision making with the company, and you get to advise the company because you have maybe the CEO or you have the heads of department coming to you, probably the chief financial officer, the CFO, or they have different sort of concerns that they will come to you, and you have to be on top of your game. You have to be an inventor of your priorities. You have to know exactly what your priorities are, and you have to know how to set them. And that's something that's so important, that as professionals, it's something that we develop over time. And that's something that we get to develop as we go. And you're not expected to, understand everything that I'm saying now, but you will understand it as soon as you get out into the workforce. You'll also need to provide like strategic guidance to the business, to the company. So you'll be asked some questions, and these are all not legal stuff. Sometimes, because lawyers are being trusted in terms of their experience, their wide experience, then you will be asked for your opinion about things. That's one of the things that, as in-house counsels, you get to do. So they say that good lawyers know how to speak simple English. So you have to, when we come out from law school, we think that, we know every fancy legal term in our law books, that we try to come and, speak to people. And we sort of use these sort of words to people who haven't gone to law school with us. So they don't know exactly what your legal terms are. So when you're advising clients in a legal, in an in-house sort of capacity, you're dealing with people who haven't gone to law school with you. So you are required to give clear, concise advice in the most simple term that you can give to any person. So moving on, like you would have to think about what's the difference between like an in-house counsel and a lawyer in a law firm. So the different sort of, there's different dynamics to it. Like mainly for law firms, you work with partners. Partners are the main people that you go to. You have to run your work by the partners, and they're the ones who actually manage you as you go. And the important thing with firms is that it's all about billable hours, and that you make as much as you can for a matter, which is totally different from what in-house counsels do. For in-house lawyers, we are more independent. We have more flexibility in terms of our work because we have more control. That's different from a law firm. You get to do your own research. Most of the time, I would say we don't have like a big team. It's all about you doing your own part, you doing your own research. And we have maybe one or two support staff, or I've seen companies where there's only one general counsel. They don't even have a staff. So it's totally different. We're more independent. So looking through how we carry out our work, it's totally different from a law firm. So it depends on you, what you want to do. Where do you see yourself after you finish from law school? Which area you'd like to go on? If you feel that you'd like to be, you're confident, you want to get into the in-house sort of environment, by all means do that. Like I've seen from my experience, in-house or companies, they always look out for lawyers who have practiced in a law firm before, so that they could recruit them from there. But I'm saying that shouldn't stop you, because you can, as long as you put yourself out there, as long as you market yourself and you are confident, you can just go ahead and apply if you're interested to be an in-house counsel. It's a totally different sort of arrangement here in Australia. In Australia, it's different. You get to be, once you graduate as a lawyer here in Australia, you have to sit a bar exam to be a barrister. So in order to get into court, but thankfully for Papua New Guinea, we don't have that sort of arrangement. So if you finish from law school, you can go right ahead and you can be a solicitor, you can be a barrister, you can go to court too. So there's nothing stopping you. You just have to push on, be willing to do the work, and just continuously improve yourself. So yeah. Looking at skills to improve yourself, stay present, keep up with the news, be confident all times. Confidence sets you apart from the rest. If you're not confident, then why should you be a lawyer then? Because being a lawyer is all about confidence. You have to, you're standing there, you're trying to be a mouthpiece on behalf of someone else. And you have to have that confidence as well too. And especially in commercial law, in decision making, you need to have that confidence. Stay hungry for knowledge, constantly improve yourself. If there's something that you really want to know about, get books, read about it. Find people on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a good platform for you that you can just dive in. There's a lot of people who have experience in all sorts of areas. You can message them, find out more about a topic that interests you. Tell them, I'm interested, to get into this area, and, start building your contacts. It's all about networking. The other thing would be attention to detail. That's a very, very important skill that you need to get. You have to be attentive to details. If someone gives you an instruction about something, you have to understand exactly what that person wants, You can't just assume that, okay, I've just read one sentence of it and I already know what the client wants. Let me go and do it the way I want. No, it's all about details. You have to pay attention to detail. Create networks. I've already said that. Create networks. Partly for me, the way I got my job with the law firm was mainly because of contacts. I was privileged enough to work with someone who is a senior counsel with Coca-Cola, Nika Pitoy, and he was able to recommend me for the job. So it's all about being good, being kind to people, and they can put a good word for you. If you're looking at expanding your areas, it's always it's good to, talk to people, just be good to people, and, they can open doors for you. So it's all about networking nowadays. That's how you get a job. Most people get a job that way. It's not to do with, you might have a very nice CV. You can have a law degree, but it comes down to people, I've said, start small. I'll reiterate that. Just be willing to start small. One thing, most importantly, you need to learn to stand up for yourself. That's something that when you get out into the law, the legal profession, there will be people out there poking you and trying to bring you down because you're new to the profession. And you have to be able to know how to stand up for yourself. So while you're being in university, get to, build your confidence, learn how to, tell people, if you need to tell them to back off, you have to. It's all about, learning how to stand up for yourself, because it will come down to your work as well too. You'll have people who will want this and that from you. And then you just need to, know how to set your priorities as you go. Another important point that I wanted to make was it's all about, coming out as a young graduate, as a young person, or just a professional, just learn. I got an advice from one of my friends, and she's an 80-year-old lady. And I asked her, what's the secret? What's the secret to living this long? And the thing that she told me that just amazed me was she said, stay deaf. That's what she said. She said, stay deaf. And I was like, what does that mean? So staying deaf, people will say all sorts of things, they'll try to bring you down. They'll say things, oh, you're not good enough, you don't have what it takes to be out there. But the advice is to stay deaf, just continuously do what you want to do. If you're interested in doing which area of law, by all means, go ahead and do it, and still just stay deaf. People can say all sorts of things, but that's not going to stop you, right? So that was a very important advice that I got. I had to look at CVs as a mentor. And I also, from my own experience, like looking at CVs, I had I have this sort of small thing that I do on the side. It's like a baby sort of, I sell like baby stuff, which is something that I just found an interest in. So I did that. So I had asked for someone to, be a delivery agent for me. And I had posted it on my social media page. And I said, please, can someone, I'm interested to have a delivery agent. And I had all these applications that have come in. And it was so funny that I looked at all the applications and there was absolutely no one that met the criteria that I set. I had people, what do you do as a delivery agent? It's more of time, right? You have to, be on the ball. You have to be able to deliver something on time. So I got someone sending me, I'm a mechanic, or someone who says, their CV, or they've just told me things that are not relevant to what I had asked. So I'm just giving that as an example. If you have a job description that's given to you, when you're preparing your CV, you have to align it to what's being asked of you. And I've seen that that's something that a lot of Papua New Guineans have missed out on job opportunities, is because we're not putting the important stuff in our CV. If you have a job description, you have to put your CV in a way that goes or aligns with what they want. In that way, you'll be able to position yourself to get your CV notice. I'm not a HR person, but I can just put myself in their shoes and just understand that if they're so busy and they've got tons of CVs to look at, and you are going on ranting about something that's totally different to what they want, they will just put you below the pile. So CV is very important. Making mistakes, I will say, just don't be afraid of making mistakes. Make a lot of mistakes as you can, because that's the only way that you will learn. Fail as much as you can. That's the only way that you can learn as well too. Because if you're so perfect, well, good for you, because I know there's a lot of perfect people out there. But for me, from my own experience, I failed so many times, and I've seen that it's the only way that has helped me learn. So I would just say, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to, make mistakes. That's the only way you learn. Focus on you. Just focus on you. Don't bother about what people are doing around you. Focus on your own development. Focus on where you're trying to go, where you see yourself in your career. I'm talking about professionals as well too. If you're already in a job and you're comfortable, just keep on going, because that's the only way that you can be able to, get a promotion. It's all about persistence. You can see what people are doing around you, but don't let that, stop you. Don't be afraid to say you don't know. Most of the time, when we come out from law school, we want to be seen as we know everything. And that's not the case when you get out into the law practice, that the legal profession, if you don't know something, you have to be honest, and it's for the benefit of your client and for justice. You have to be honest if you don't know something. So don't try to portray that you know everything, because at the end of the day, you don't. Be critical at all times. Be critical of yourself. I'm not saying you have to be critical about other people, but be critical about yourself, and also in every information that you get, try to be critical, try to question things and understand why these things are the way they are. So from my own experience looking at the legal practice, I've seen in the legal profession, so I've seen new developments. It's interesting that when our forefathers, PNG, as we came, they did it in such a way where they wanted lawyers to, be able to know every area of the law, try to be like a general person, be an all-rounder. That's something that's different. And in this growing era of technology, you need people who are specialized. And that's something that's totally different in PNG, because everywhere else is people are they're specializing in different areas of law. And that's how you bring value to the country. So if you have an area where you're really interested to, please, by all means, read as much as you can. If you're thinking of doing a master's, go for it. A lot of my colleagues from university have gone and done their master's. I myself haven't, because I haven't seen, it hasn't come up as a need for me at the moment. So I haven't taken that step yet. But if you want to specialize in something, you can do that, because that's the way you bring value. People will come after you if they know that you're specialized in something, So if you're interested in whatever area, if it's insolvency, if it's to do with banking and finance, I know some of you students out there, you've already messaged me saying that, I want to be this, and how can I be, this person? So it's all about, just getting to know, just reading more about it, trying to specialize, go on YouTube. There are a lot of presentations that people do on different topics, even follow the TED Talks, those are good. So you can learn as well too. There's an interesting sort of page or like a website called the Muse, M-U-S-E. They have very nice articles that are written for professionals. You can go in as a student. It's good to, start opening your thinking capacity. And it's a really good platform that you can go in and read stuff. They post really good articles. And I also go in there as well to check and learn myself. So yeah. So what are the benefits? I think this is like everyone should be interested by now. Like, what are the benefits of being an in-house counsel? That's what everyone wants to know. You become an industry leader in whatever area that you're in. You become, if you're in banking and finance, you become a leader in that sort of space where people will go to you because you have experience in banking and finance. You can be maybe you're in the oil and gas industry, then you can be also a leader in that. So you become an industry leader in whatever company that you're in, whichever industry that they're in. You also influence decision making. So you have a seat on the table, basically. So you get to influence decisions. And as Papua New Guineans, we have the opportunity, we have the opportunity to be able to be part of decision making. That's what in-house lawyers do. You get to sit there, you get to decide with the management team on how the directions are taken, how you shape the country. So that's very important. I would say, and I'm not being biased, but yeah, they're good salary conditions, and it's based on your performance with the company. If you're very good in your job, you get good salary conditions. And it's all about that, right? We want to get paid well. We want to be able to look after our families. And that's something that I found with, practicing in commercial law. You get to travel a lot. Traveling, if you love traveling, that's a good job for you, if you have a family now while you're in uni, it could be university, it could be different. You might have to, look at your priorities. If you're someone who doesn't have a child yet, or you don't have a partner who you need to be, you need the support from, it's always good to, have that travel experience, because traveling helps you to understand yourself, and it helps you to understand what capabilities you have. And with commercial law, you get to travel a lot. So I was privileged to travel when I was with Digicel. I got to work in the Pacific. I got to advise CEOs. So they were basically my clients. So I had like 5 CEOs that I had to report to. And man, I tell you, like, sometimes I wouldn't sleep at night because my phone would be like, someone would be calling me from probably Vanuatu or Samoa to, attend to an email that's been sent to me. So yeah, as you move up in the corporate sort of environment, the responsibility is like major, it's huge. So you get to be called to do these things, you get to travel. Your family is, you have to have an understanding family, you have to have an understanding partner who can support you. And I was privileged to have that. And I was able to excel in my job. And I loved my job because of family reasons that I had to take a step back, and I'm where I am now. So yeah, I would say if you love traveling, like, go for it. That's one of the good things about it, is that you get to travel. So it was interesting. At one stage, I had to visit like 4 different countries in 4 months. So it was because of project related, and that was fun because I learned a lot, and I was also to contribute a lot as well to in the Pacific, just managing my team. You have greater flexibility in terms of work arrangements. It allows you to think independently, like I said, and you're able to use your judgment. So it's an opportunity for you now. For finishing law school, you're able to get that experience. Once you get a few years experience, maybe I would say 5 years max, maybe 3 years, if you're so good and if you're willing to work hard, you can get into the in-house sort of environment. So I've been ranting on and on. So just talking about like the end game for an in-house counsel, you can become a general counsel. That's like the highest bit that we all report to, the general counsel. And the general counsel is the key person. You can be a company secretary, you can run huge organizations once you get that experience, because it's all about your soft skills, your time management. You have to be flexible. You have to know how to adapt to change. These are things that are not taught to you in law school. So these are things that you develop. And it's good that you start learning now, so that when you get into the profession, it's very easy for you. And also you can become a regulator, you can become, example, like the head of a regulatory government department. That's a job too, because in-house counsels, it's all about compliance. It's all about regulations, reading through the law, how do I make sure that the company I'm working to is compliant to the laws of the country. So as you go about doing that, you become good in a certain area, and you can become a regulator. You can be like maybe a commissioner, or, I've been privileged to work with the former general counsel, and he's now like one of the commissioners of the sort of ICCC of New Zealand. So that's interesting, like that I've seen that's happened. So I would encourage you, like, if you're looking into broadening yourself and later on looking at those, greater sort of goals, then by all means you can do that. So yeah, I think I've said my piece, and I've just given you guys a whole heap of information. I think that's about me, about it from me. I don't have anything much to say, and Tess, I'll leave it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Baim. I have no doubt all the aspiring commercial lawyers today have benefited profoundly from listening to you speak and will take with them many insightful tips that they can apply in their respective careers in the near future. So this now brings us to the question and answer session. I know we're running a bit tight on time, but we'll squeeze in a few questions from the audience. Thank you to those of you who have sent in your questions via email, or if you would like to, you can post them in the chat and we can get to them. We'll start off with our first question that was sent in from Ms. Renee Siaguru, who is a legal professional herself. So Ms. Siaguru's question is, which professional membership bodies or associations would you recommend young aspiring commercial lawyers to join?
Sorry, 1 second.
No worries.
My laptop is sort of giving up on me already. Okay, thanks, Tess. Okay, thanks, Renee, for your question. I would say to start off with, get in touch, that's a good platform to start. People who are very, knowledgeable, say, start connecting with people on LinkedIn. The other one is good you're part of the aspiring lawyers. We have connections with a lot of lawyers who have supported the program, and it's a good place to start here. You can start, networking with people within aspiring lawyers. I've also seen there's very good groups out there. I think there's a young professional group in Port Moresby that most of the young professionals are part of. I myself, I'm not, but it's a good opportunity for you to express your interest if you're interested in. I've seen a lot of business houses now have come out doing their sort of programs. You can also look at those and try to get yourself in there. It's all about getting yourself in there, because once you get to know people, they can assist you.
All right, thank you. I'll to open the floor to the audience. If you have any questions that you would like to ask Ms. Baim, you can post that or unmute yourself to ask the question. So we have a question that's come in from Janelle, I believe. She asks, what's the possibility of commercial lawyers becoming judges?
Okay, commercial lawyers becoming judges. I think you need to get into litigation, because most litigation lawyers, it's their playing field. And you get into litigation, you can get into a firm, basically start practicing commercial law. That's where you start. You get into litigation, because from there you develop your advocacy skills. So that's the way you actually, you build yourself from that, litigation perspective. If you want to become a judge, most of the lawyers that become judges are the ones that do litigation. So I hope I've answered your question, Janelle.
Thank you, Janelle, for the question. Do we have any more questions? Oh, okay. We'll go to Laura. She has a question for Ms. Baim.
Hi, Catherine. Oh, there's another question from Susan. I'll just go quickly. So I have a question about networking. You mentioned networking, and I myself, I attend a lot of events in my school where we get to meet potential employees. But of course, you don't want to come up as too strong or too desperate, you know, because then, so my question, I guess, is how do you go about it? You know, how do you make it like more natural so that it just, you know, works out all good in the end?
Thanks, Laura. That's a very good question. I think a lot of people, that's a barrier for most people, for me as well when I started. It's being social is very awkward. People see that, you know, trying to, you know, we think that it's so awkward, you know, you have to go and talk to someone where you don't know, right? But, you know, it's easy for you to just, you know, get to know people. I mean, you might strike up a conversation about a sporting event that you went to, or maybe that person likes the game that you like. Example, cricket. Maybe that person likes cricket. And eventually that's where you click, you know. So you just find someone who is interested in something. So that you create like a conversation about nearly anything, you know, and then you might find out that, oh, this person, I click with this person. So once you find that click, it just happens. You know that, okay, I have something in common with this person. So that's how you can create your networks. For me personally, I enjoy sports. I don't talk that much, you know. I always keep to my own. I like my space, to be honest. Apart from doing my legal whatever, you know, I like my own space. So as long as I am comfortable with you, I will open up to you. So and I speak to people. I like just getting to know people, you know, trying to find out exactly what they like doing. And I'm a very humorous person. So, you know, I like cracking jokes all the time. So, I mean, that's how I disarm someone that, you know, I've just met. So that's my way of, you know, handling this, where you might have your own way that you want to connect with people. And you might probably a book that you've read and you think that it's interesting. You might ask that person, have you read this book? Or have you seen this movie? Or have you been to this place? You know, just random questions, you know. That's how you connect with people because, you know, human beings, we are like people who interact with each other. That's just human nature. So it shouldn't be rocket science for anyone. You know, eventually you'll get the hang of it. You just talk to people and then you get to create your own networks. And also don't forget to get their number down, you know, stay in contact with them, you know, wish them like, you know, like just think of them about, you know, any like important occasions. It's all about creating that space for you because it helps you, and just being kind to people. I think that helps. Thank you, Laura.
Lovely. Okay, I'm gonna run along to our next question from Suzanne. And Suzanne asks, can you share with us a typical day in your role as an in-house counsel?
Thank you, Suzanne. Okay, so a typical day, when you get into the office, the first thing that you do is you have to check all your emails. And that's when, as soon as you get in, you log into your computer and then you have to start checking all your emails because that's where your instructions will be. And you get into your emails, you check exactly what's hot on the plate for the day. When I say hot, I mean what's priority for the day. So if it's something that needs to be done urgently, you have to know how to schedule. You have to start attending to it as soon as possible. And yeah, you start reading your emails from the start, and then you start just diarizing things that you need to do for the day. You might be called for meetings most of the time. Sometimes meetings can go on And it's just, you need to be present. You need to be there for those meetings. So unfortunately, you can't say that you can't attend the meeting unless you have other sort of priorities for the day. So you will be attending meetings and just basically doing instructions, contracts that are given to you that you need to review. You have to look at legal advices if there's an issue, and you will have tons of it that will come to you. So you have to learn how to prioritize. So basically, it's all about prioritizing, attending meetings in a day, and you get to schedule, like maybe you need to go places to see clients, or you need to do certain things for the day. So that's typically in a day that you get to do at work as an in-house counsel.
Very interesting. Thank you. I think because we mentioned that the webinar would be for an hour, I just accept a few more questions before we close off. So the next question is from Victor. Catherine, Victor would like to know what type of cases do you generally handle as a commercial, in your time as a commercial lawyer?
Okay. Thanks, Victor. Okay, so when it comes to cases, you're actually dealing with matters. It's very wide ranging. You have all sorts of matters that come about. When you say like a case, it's when you get to brief out matters to like an outside counsel. And that's a good point, Victor. Like for when you're dealing with matters, as an in-house counsel, sometimes you have to know your limits, and you have to know when you have capacity to deal with an issue or with a case. If you don't have that, then you have outside counsels, which are law firms that we brief. And when you brief these counsels, they are like your sort of support team. So outside counsel is like a law firm that is your support team. So they're the ones who do what you want as an in-house counsel. So you tell them exactly what you want done, and they will do it for you. So as you go about doing cases, like example, certain cases that I've worked on, which were very interesting. There was a time where we had this page that had come on Facebook portraying, it was the company that I was working with, Digicel. So they had this fake page that was put up, and they were portraying that they were Digicel, and like the business sort of just went like all up in arms because it wasn't the company. So I was privileged to deal with the Facebook legal team, which was so interesting. And that's a case where I had to, talk with them, get them to understand to take that page down because it wasn't Digicel's. So that was an interesting sort of case that I dealt with, and we managed to, solve the case. We have intellectual property cases that can arise, to do with trademarks, and those are some of the cases that we brief out to counsel. If that we have major like mergers and acquisitions, we also brief that out to law firms to help us, because they are the ones who will be specialized in those areas, and they will give us the support that we need to get like a certain project done or case sort of dealt with. So yeah, it's all to do about that. So cases, so we have litigation matters. When I was with my previous employer, and most of them were dealt, we had to brief them out to law firms to deal with those. And I know for sure that they still do. The law firms handle our cases, and all we do is we manage them.
All right, thank you for that. So we'll go to our final question before we end. So Vanessa asked, You mentioned as a lawyer, you have to be confident and typically outspoken, but is there a chance for the introverted ones to take roles behind the scenes?
That's a very good question. So yeah, I can speak for myself. I was an introvert, and I found it more, like it was my space as being an in-house counsel, because I was able to be independent, and I could be able to develop myself in that space. But if you're an introvert, that doesn't stop you from being a lawyer, because it's all about in your brain, right? You've gone to law school, you've done all the hard work, you've covered all the bases, and now you're trying to come out into the real world. You're trying to practice what you've learned. So if you're not good in, if you feel that you're an introvert, if you feel that you're not comfortable being in a courtroom setting, because it's all about confidence. No matter where you go, it's all about confidence if you're a lawyer, because at the end of the day, you'll still be dealing with people, and that's something that you need to improve yourself on. So I'm constantly improving myself, and that's something that you can do as well too. Other lawyers as well. I know a lot of lawyers who are introverts, but they're still lawyers, and they're still doing very well in their space. So that shouldn't stop you from going ahead in what you're trying to achieve.
Thank you so much. Okay, so this brings us now to the end of our webinar on the commercial law practice. It has been a wonderful learning experience for all of us, I'm sure, and we extend our sincere—
Sorry, Tess, I'll interrupt you. I think we have a last question there from Carolina. Maybe make that the last question.
Okay, no worries. So Carolina's question is, do you deal with matters on a domestic level only or also in an international level?
Okay. I've dealt with matters within PNG. It's really dependent on the company that you work with, what sort of operation they have. If they have different sort of arms within different countries, you get to deal with people in other countries as well. Like I've dealt with, because Digicel, my previous employer, is an Irish company. So I got to deal with people in sort of Ireland, in the Caribbean, because it's big there, and also Pacific. So you get to deal with matters with people in different areas. So it's just not the domestic, so it's also internationally. So it's something that's really, empowering for you as you get out there, because you get to, spread your wings, talk to people who are not within just the country, but outside as well too. So Carolina, that I hope it answers your question.
All right, so I think we'll end here. Apologies that we've gone beyond the timing that we first mentioned, but again, I'd like to sincerely thank Ms. Baim for her time and for being a remarkable example for all aspiring lawyers to follow. We also would like to thank all of you for joining us, and we hope you're able to do so in our future ALPNG webinars that we have planned on various other interesting aspects of the legal practice, not just on commercial law. Once again, if you have any queries or would like to know more about commercial law or about ALPNG in general, please feel free to like, follow, and contact us on any of our social media platforms. We have a Facebook, Instagram, and a LinkedIn page, or you can also reach us at aspiringlawyers@gmail.com. And do keep an eye out on our pages for more motivating posts about the participants of our annual ALPNG mentorship program, and stay tuned to perhaps be part of the next cycle. So it has been an absolute pleasure having you all with us tonight. And from myself and the rest of the ALPNG team, we wish you all a safe weekend, all the best with your studies. So till next time, good night.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you.
you.
Thanks. Bye.